so natural, and it's like he's revealing the whole world, universe to you, to us. So one other time we were in Los Angeles Temple Room, and so they had the Vyasa-san complete. It was a big. The front of it was like this far out, like this. So the whole thing was full of fruits, all kinds of fruits. So this was 75, I think. So the whole temple was full of devotees, like 200-300 or something. And so they had this, they used to bring out the plates, like 5 or 10 plates full of rasgullas and burfi cookies. So you hold everybody's holding their hand. Prabhupada puts the burfi into your hand. He doesn't just throw it in your, he touches you when he puts the burfi in your hand. So when Prabhupada touches you, bananas and grapes and peaches and pineapples, everything, every fruit you can think of was on that Vyasa-san. And he's throwing them into the crowd. So you can imagine what, and they're diving for these grapes and fighting for them and laughing and crying, and so it was kind of hard to describe, but it was a little bit. It wasn't very formal, you know what I mean? Any more time? No. That's good, because I can. Okay, thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Gadagaraj Prabhu. I'm going to say if everyone could be a bit speedy now because we're running out of time. Kirana Dakshi Vishnu Prabhu, would you like to make your offering?
Please accept my most humble obeisances in the dust of your lotus feet. Oma Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjala Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve. Minimum of 16 rounds a day. From Friday the 11th of February 2022, I decided to chant 18 rounds a day. And then on Thursday the 5th of October 2023, I was inspired by you to chant 20. The 3rd of January 2024, I've started chanting 21 rounds a day. Leaves me time to do my service and reading. Presently, my brother Chaturbhuj Prabhu and I have fixed in our devotional service of chanting the holy name of the Lord, Nishtha. So going from Nama Prad, which is the dense darkness of night, we come to Nam. When the sun has not quite arrived on the horizon, yet the whole sky has lit up with daylight. The process of chanting the Maha Mantra and following the rules and regulations, certainly we will achieve our goal. Chanting here means attentive chanting, listening to the sound vibration of the holy name as we utter it. Then it will become pure chanting, Shuddh Nam, which is a liken to the sun being in the sky at midday, blazing in full glory. This will only be possible if we endeavor to execute our devotional service under the shelter of pure devotees. Since Thursday the 22nd of December 2022, we have been meeting once a week at various locations, including Soho Street, to see how we can get one Varnashama college with every ISKCON center. the dim light of Varnashrama is still burning bright in my heart. And under Bhakti Raghava Swami, we are just about to complete our second reading of your book, Srila Prabhupada speaking about Varnashrama, compiled by Hari Krishna Devi Dasi. How so many wonderful instructions on the 50% of your movement are yet to be fulfilled. Our leaders need to focus on the second half of our movement whilst maintaining the first half of Sankirtan, initiation and temple construction and worship. Finally, for your pleasure, Srila Prabhupada, as one of the 5 things you wanted for London, namely 1, a set of books in every home, 2, a temple in Regent's Park, 3, 10 temples in London, 4, theatre for the British public, and 5, the British Empire of Krishna consciousness. Last year I was informed of a course in comedy by the CNWL Recovery College, but it was not until this year on Monday the 5th of February 2024 until Sunday the 21st of February 2024 that the comedy course came on tap for me. Following your abiding instruction to me to continue your education and become Krishna conscious in 1973, I decided to try to perform on stage and teach Krishna consciousness by making people laugh and perhaps follow in Madhu Mangala's footsteps to make Krishna laugh. So I have been on the course for 10 weeks now, which will culminate in showcasing all the students' comedy acts on Sunday the 21st of April 2024 at the Comedy Store off Leicester Square in London. This will be my first introduction to performing on stage, and if we can later expand it to more Krishna conscious theatre in London, that will be truly wonderful. I humbly seek your blessings in this endeavour. Your insignificant servant, Karana Dakshai Vishnudas Adhikari.
Is my... Is this mic? Yeah, this microphone's working. Yeah. You never know what I might do, Kishore.
The right height. Namaram Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharane Nirvasesya Sanyavadi Paskatra Desatarane. So Srila Prabhupada, I was not expecting to speak, so I'm just going to ad-lib. I met you, first of all, in 1972, when I went to Berry Place Temple, and you were there. I didn't know who you were, and we went into a room where you were sitting. Actually, you'd gone to the bathroom, which in Berry Place was just next door to the room you stayed. And there was a semicircle of people, some students, some Indian people. I was sent into the room. I didn't know why I was in the room. I just was told to go in there. So I went in there. Then Srila Prabhupada came back in the room, and he sat. It was very beautiful. There was actually a big asan and a glass table. And he sat down, and somebody came in with a glass of water and a jug. And I had never seen, really, the devotees in action, because I didn't know anything about it at that time. And somebody bowed on the floor, and they offered Prabhupada a drink with such love. And it was just so amazing to see somebody being served like that. So then Prabhupada sat, And everybody was sitting waiting for Srila Prabhupada to speak. And Prabhupada didn't actually speak. And he was just looking. He didn't speak for maybe 1 or 2 minutes. And I was really noticing that if that was me sitting there, I would be thinking, oh, they're all waiting, I'd better speak. But I could see that this personality, it was nothing like any person I had ever seen. He was sitting there, and there was this whole energy coming out of him. It was totally unbelievable. I realized this person isn't like anyone from this planet that I've ever seen. He was like so grounded. And I was thinking, whatever this person believes, he was completely satisfied. He was completely secure. He was totally grounded. And he was like a rock in a stormy ocean, that whatever he believed, you could not budge him. And I just realized this is a very special personality. So then he said a few words after he gave us birth. He asked our names like that. And then the next time I saw Srila Prabhupada was actually when he arrived here on the lawn in a helicopter. And that was actually very amazing. He came over the roof, and the deities hadn't been installed at that time. So there's actually glass doors that open behind the curtains, behind the deities. So we were actually standing on those little steps, and the helicopter was coming over. Prabhupada waved, and we were all singing, oh, we're going home, back to Godhead. Oh, we're all going home, back to Godhead. And then Prabhupada came down, and he landed, and I was thinking, well, it was very special when I saw him last year, but what if I don't feel the same when I see him this time? But then when Prabhupada got out of that helicopter, I mean, I didn't say this for years because I thought people will say I'm a Sahajya, but I've heard other people say this same thing who were there. And so I say, Prabhupada got out of that helicopter, and there was literally a light the whole way down to the bottom, and Prabhupada's feet were not touching the floor. And it says that people from higher planets, their feet don't touch the floor. I never saw it afterwards. But he literally was walking as if there was another floor there. It was very amazing. So anyway, Prabhupada came. What actually always steals my heart about Srila Prabhupada is his compassion. I heard one devotee, I'm not sure if it was Ranchor, but they came in very late from a program, and they were going upstairs. Everybody was asleep. But they saw Srila Prabhupada's room was a little bit open, so they were peeping. And Prabhupada, very sharp, all his senses, he heard. He said, come in. So the devotee went in, paid his obeisances, and he said, Srila Prabhupada, because Prabhupada used to sit up for hours at night just translating for us. And so this person said, Srila Prabhupada, you're working so hard for us. And he said, Prabhupada looked very straight and very seriously into his eyes, and he said, you have no idea just how hard I am working for you. He said, every single word, I think for a long time, just in the hopes that you may understand it. So this was our Prabhupada. He actually gave his life for us. He was so compassionate. When he came to India, high-class Indian gentleman, very a real dignified, aristocratic person. But when he came to the West, what did he do? He cleaned the floors for the hippies who were on drugs. He washed all their pots. They didn't know to do anything for him. And after a few weeks, somebody said, oh, can we help? So who would do that? And I heard one sadhu in India. He said, because not everybody in India understands the greatness of our Prabhupada if they haven't been to the West. They don't understand some. But one said, when I heard how he came and cleaned those pots for the hippies, and he was just so compassionate, he said, I understood two things. I understood the greatness of this personality. What an amazing, transcendental, totally transcendental personality he was. And he said the other thing I realized was how dedicated he was to the mission of his spiritual master. So Srila Prabhupada, so compassionate always. And he came for every level. He came for every level. But for Prabhupada's kindness, I don't think I could ever become a devotee. And it said, Prabhupada, somebody asked him, we have no piety to come to a pure devotee. Prabhupada said, I made your pious credits. So I was thinking, what did that mean exactly? But Prabhupada came to the West, and he gave a chance to maybe, I can only speak for myself, people who maybe didn't have that credit to come to a pure devotee. He made a temple where we could live inside the temple and we can serve from morning till night, building Sakriti, making pious credits. He gave us everything, actually. So now, I don't know if there's any younger ones here, but I think it's really important that actually the young people who are doing amazing living, I can only speak for myself again, but they have so much more qualification to serve, beautiful singing and so many things they can do, beautiful preaching. And it's really important for them to understand that this Prabhupada's mission, it's very, very important to give it to the world, because Prabhupada came for every single level. So that is really, really important. And I just asked that Prabhupada built a house in which this whole world can live. That includes everybody, even me. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you. I'm going to read my offering now, and if these people could get ready, thank you. Krishna Dharma, Prabhu and his good wife Chintamani, Vishwambar, Adiguru, Govinda. If you could come next after me, so there's not such a keep interrupting. I'm going to sit because I only got 3 hours sleep, and now I know what a car feels like just before it runs out of petrol. I don't know what the word is, see. My dear most Srila Prabhupada, please accept my humble obeisances at your golden lotus feet. All glories to you, my divine spiritual master. As your Vyasa Puja approaches, and I'm writing this offering to you, it has struck me that just 8 months later, it will be a whopping 50 years since Krishna Balaram Temple opened, and a great milestone in the history of your glorious life, a gift to the whole world. It was an unforgettable day, the culmination being when you offered Artik to Krishna and Balaram. I can never forget the look on your face as you turned to offer the peacock fan to the assembled devotees, a sublime smile decorating your golden face, a smile of pure pleasure at the successful ending to such a great and difficult endeavor. I see you as a transcendental Alexander the Great, conquering our hearts with love, conquering Vrindavan and conquering Maya. As I looked at your lotus feet, they seemed to be ankle deep in pink rose petals. In fact, we were all ankle deep in rose petals. Such opulence for 1975 India. A perfect day in your perfect life. And of course, the fun didn't end there. We had a procession from our then distant temple into Vrindavan. In carefree Vrindavan, where the belief of karma outweighs safety concerns, excuse me, there were elephants and cows with big horns in the parade, and lots of colorful flags. In one of the photographs of you, Srila Prabhupada, on this parade, not far from you is me waving a turquoise flag. I thank you for this gift. Amazing how a seemingly small thing can mean so much. 50 years later, and by your mercy, Krishna Balaram Temple thrives. Due to immense construction, Krishna Balaram Temple is no longer on the edge of Vrindavan. It can even seem like the center of not just Vrindavan, but the world, maybe even the universe. 50 years is such a long time, the majority of a person's life, and I keep praying I will live to see these momentous festivities of Vrindavan devotees must be planning to celebrate. I want to be there to acknowledge your brilliant triumph, for once again, I find myself in awe of your achievements, particularly as circumstances dictated such a late start to your adventure. I remember that installation day so well, clambering for a better position to watch you performing the arti. You standing so straight next to Krishna and Balaram with that unbelievable smile of triumph on your face. I can almost feel the rose petals beneath my feet as I remember that sacred day and that magnificent parade where you walked so triumphantly. That was the second time I'd walked with you on a procession, the first being at the London Rathayatra in 1973. Rejecting the seat arranged for you, you had marched surrounded by your loving devotees from Marble Arch to Trafalgar Square, where the statue of Nelson, placed so high on its column, faded into obscurity compared to you. During this procession, I was attempting to sell the specially produced magazines to the crowd. Suddenly, it was as if a bolt of electricity had passed through my body, and all the hairs on my body stood on end. Confused, I spun around to find you dancing, arms upraised, almost within touching distance of me, surrounded by devotees chanting ecstatically. I stood in awe of you, appreciating what I would now call cosmic experience you had allowed me to have. You were not of this earth, Srila Prabhupada. I have been thinking a lot about gratefulness and the unpayable debt that is owed to you for sharing this greatest gift of Krishna consciousness. Now I am at the, quote, fag end of my life. I can really appreciate the extra endeavors everything takes when youth has gone. As I see my own strength failing, I often marvel to myself at your accomplishments and question how you manage to achieve all this at your age. I always remind myself that you could have been in your perfect rooms in Vrindavan, enjoying that wonderful Vrindavan atmosphere and darshans of the Goswami deities. Of course, you carried Krishna with you wherever you went, and regardless of your surroundings, you were always in Vrindavan. My lamentations come from my own experience of leaving Vrindavan, which are obviously different to your own glorious pastimes, which reminds me of the last time you left Vrindavan. Your health had been failing and you went to Rishikesh for the agreeable climate. News came at midnight with a knock on my door at the Goshala of your imminent return in the morning. I rushed to your house to prepare it for your homecoming. Somehow I wasn't mentally prepared to see you being carried like a baby in arms the short distance from your car to the house. I had experienced joyful rushes to the Bombay airport to greet you, where I ecstatically watched you taking strong strides that young people had difficulty keeping up with. This was a new experience for me, a very saddening experience. That was the last time I cleaned your house. Things were different. Talk was always about your health, what you had eaten, whether you should circumambulate Govardhan Hill. Then came the announcement that you were going to New York to preach. Incredibly, nothing could stop our fierce preacher, our Senapati Bhakta, off on a new adventure. You were catching a British Airways flight via London that would entail leaving Vrindavan at midnight. Of course, the whole temple stayed up to wave you off, and that is when something I regard as very special happened to me. I was standing on the side of the road outside Krishna Balaram temple, seeing you off when your car suddenly stopped in such a position that I was looking directly down at you and you were looking directly up at me with our eyes meeting. It was a real wake-up call for me, and it showed me just how sick you were. There was literally just skin and bones lying on top of You were literally just skin and bones lying on top of 2 guest house mattresses. I always remember the awe I felt for you in that moment, seeing your fragile bodily condition. Literally no fat, no muscles, just skin on top of bone. It has left a lasting impression on me, the sacrifice you made to benefit all of humanity, one of life's more sobering moments. You could even say a life-changing moment, because it was so easy in that moment to see just how deeply your love and mercy to not just your devotees, but all living entities was by you traveling in such a condition. It also perfectly illustrated your determination to preach in the Western countries as directed by your own much-loved spiritual master, Bhaktivedanta Saraswati. This example of love and determination that you showed has stayed with me always. Srila Prabhupada, thank you for the mercy you showed me. It has sustained me through many difficult times. I beg to remain always in your service, your unworthy servant, Moksha Lakshmi Devi Dasi. Krishna Dharma, Chintamani, Vishwambara next after, and Adiguru, Govinda.
Bhaktivedanta Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pachani Nivishesha Sunivali Pashkata. Srila Prabhupada, you once said that your favorite bhajan is Hari Hari Bifale. I wanted to quickly sing this in English as part of my offering. I promise it won't take long. O Lord Hari, my life has passed uselessly. Though as a human I was born, I have not worshipped you, my Lord. Thus did I drink poison willfully. The treasure of Vrindavan Prem descended with the holy name, yet no attraction awoke within me. The poison of worldly desire burns my heart like blazing fire, but I refuse to take this remedy. Krishna came as Gauranga,